Hey everyone, it's Ton Types, and today I got some really good cards to talk about, and well, mostly just one good card and a bunch of control cards and some other decent cards. There's a bunch of stuff. I made a reveals video yesterday. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, so I decided to do a reveals video because there were like three new cards revealed. And then like immediately after making that video, like literally before it was even posted, they revealed like an entire set. So yeah, that's fun. We've seen most of the cards. This is the set Mask of Change, and I've reviewed most of the cards in this channel. I'll try not to repeat any. If I do, they'll probably unfortunately be like the generic cards, but then there won't be too much to say about them. But let's just hop right in because there are some really cool cards, including an A spec that's it's kind of like computer search, but it's more complicated than computer search. Yeah, we'll get to that later though. It's really crazy. It's really good. It's probably the best A spec, which is good or bad. I'm not sure. It's not definitively the best. I think Prime Catcher and Unfair Stamp for just general use are really good as well. But yeah, we'll get to the new spec later. First of all, we got these cards that I have no idea when they're coming to us internationally, but in Japan they're releasing as like tournament promos or something. Yeah, I have no idea. These usually just come at like random times for us, so that's fine. And they're usually not too good, but these are actually surprisingly decent. And so first of all, we got Kilowattrel EX, and this has return charge. Switch this as one of your benched Pokemon, and then for one lightning, then attach up to two basic lightning from your hand to this Pokemon. I mean, that's like whatever. You are weak to lightning resist fighting, free retreat as well, so pretty decent there. But 260 HP, I guess that's pretty normal. But you know, higher would be better, obviously. And then Thunderlance here, 40 and 40 more for each lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. This is the same exact effect, or essentially the same exact effect of the attack, or I guess damage output of Armarouge EX, which has actually been pretty decent, but not just because of its attack, mostly because its ability and the other Armarouge's ability, and then I guess Arceus and some stuff. And it hasn't even been that good, although it's been solid. But I don't think Kilowattrel is going to be that good. If we had Flaffy, this would be okay, but unfortunately, I just don't think it's very. It's like its damage output's pretty low. If you have 4 energy, you're hitting 200, which is not a ton for 4 energy. So yeah, maybe we'll get some card to synergize with this, but as of now, unfortunately, it doesn't look too good. Though not complete trash. We got Scraggy, we got Scrafty next. This is for one colorless. Search deck for each. For each of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So that's pretty good, like really good. Um, for in terms of search, right? But your opponent will probably just Iona you or judge you. Iona's played as a lot. It is played a lot, and so that's probably gonna happen. Obviously, forcing your opponent to Iona is good. Forcing him to Judge is even better because Judge just doesn't draw as much usually. So Scrafty here is not a terrible card. I mean, it's really interesting in control, most notably. It's a good control card, I guess. We've seen it's most similar, I'd say, to Radiant Eevee actually, which is pretty similar, a bit worse, but it's a bit worse of its attack, but it's a basic, right? So I don't think Scrafty is good enough, but it's interesting. It really has a lot of potential here. As a control card, you can just get a lot of stuff, or as a setup card, I suppose, in some other deck. But it is a stage one. I don't think it's quite good enough, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts down below. I imagine many of you will agree with me, and you can also do 100 for 3, which is not terrible in certain scenarios as like a backup option. Certainly never why you'd play it, but yeah. And then we got Roto Stick here. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. An item. You may reveal any number of supporters you find there and put them into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Let me just check. We have Pokegear, right? That's in standard. Yeah, it is. I like don't play this card because I'm not a big fan, right? This is almost directly worse than Pokegear 3.0 because you can get multiple supporters. So if you like. I don't know. I have essentially no idea when this would ever be useful. There are super niche scenarios, but yeah, you don't really ever need more than one supporter. And if you do, the likelihood that multiple of the supporters that you need are in the top 4 is just like essentially none. Maybe Slowpoke and Psyduck, which was a card. You can play it in like expanded or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's the thing. It's not very good, but you know it'll rotate. It'll rotate after Pokegear, so maybe it's not very good. But yeah, moving into the Mask Change cards. Mask Change will. Oh, there's a lot of images here. Mask of Change will, oh, it's about the Teal Mask DLC. It has Ogre Pawns, and it has some other stuff. And it's going to be part of Twilight Masquerade, releasing in May, I believe, in like a month. Yeah, that sounds about right, which is really cool. I'm looking forward to that. I think, no, what is it? Temple of Forces has been really fun. But, I'm looking forward to a new set as well. So we got a bunch of cards. I've talked about most of these, but not all of these, including this insane ace spec called, I forget, but we'll see. So we got a Heracross, not very good. I don't think we've seen that before. We got another Heracross. Yeah. This is so we got a Trevenant here. Um. Wait. Why is this Heracross? I have no idea how that happened. But yeah. So Heracross. Again, not very good either. You can do 130 for the grass colorless. What this attack just isn't right. I hope most of the translations are right. I think they are, but this one just isn't right for some reason. But anyway, so just 130 for grass colorless. I can't speak Japanese, but I can at least see that. Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously this isn't a ton. It'd be better if it was 160. It's not. But with super effective glasses and reversal, you can one-shot Charizard, so that's a thing. But I mean, yeah, that's probably not the best plan. We talked about a lot of these cards as well, so you can check out other videos on my channel after this. They're not too hard to find. The Mask of Change and Twilight Masquerade cards. You got a Darmanitan. This one's, I think, new, and it does 210 for fire on a stage 1 and 70 to itself. The idea would probably be to use this. Well, there's two ideas, right? There's Armor Rouge box or something, some like fire box, which I think would be viable, although obviously when 210's not exactly enough. You want to be hitting 220, 230, um, and you're not, obviously. So, yeah, you can boost your damage, but it's still, you'd rather not have to do this. And you do 70 to yourself, so you knock yourself out over 2 turns. But the biggest thing is probably you want to use it with reversible. We have to Titan, which will be in format for a little while. Which one is it? This one. Here we go. So special horn, if you have a special energy attached, which you will because you're using reversal, then you go ahead and get to do 220, which is, well, 10 more than Darmanitan. And hitting fire weakness is just pretty meh, to be honest. There are times when it's good. I guess. I don't know. They're pretty rare. There are pretty rare times when water weakness is good as well, to be honest. But yeah, Darmanitan isn't looking super promising. Also, much less HP. It's like never going to tank hits ever because I suppose if you attack with a first attack or like don't attack, then you can tank a hit potentially, but you can't use the second attack and tank because you're going to have 70 HP. Interesting card though. I think it has some potential. Not the most interesting, but cool. I like Darmanitan as well. It's a fun Pokemon. Polyrath, which I talked about yesterday. You can check out that video after this one, which is pretty interesting. We got Jinx. So Inviting Kiss. What is this? Search your deck for a basic for one colorless. Put it onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. Then move an energy from this Pokemon to that Pokemon. Okay, that's an okay setup card. It's not like good, but it's not terrible. There are definitely times when this would be really great. But they're pretty niche. They're usually if you're like not set up very well. This isn't ever really a great option because you could have just grabbed that Pokemon and then say TM Turbo Evolution to it. So, which just gets more energy on. Yeah, I'm like really thinking through. I can't think of particularly great uses, but there are times when it like if you need an attacker, say like Arceus V-Star, you're playing Arceus V-Star deck, but you somehow completely miss your Arceus V-Star, meaning that obviously there isn't any energy on it. But you really need an Arceus V, and play turn 1 with an energy so you can get 2 energy on to attach like 2 energy cards on turn 2 and evolve into the V-Star, then you can use this and that would be like super clutch, but also like, if you're missing your Pokemon and your energy, that's not great. So you still need another Pokemon and an energy. But yeah, it's an interesting card. It's pretty cool. I think it's really cool in Cube. I don't really play Cube much. Most people don't. Very few people play Cube because it's very long, but discussion for another day. Inviting Kiss is interesting. It's like unique. You can preserve energy. So if you have I don't know, but it's not like you get to reuse the on-play effect, and you could use the jet energy, like you could attach jet to Jinx, and I don't know. It seems so close to being something, but it doesn't seem quite there. I don't know. Tell me down below if there's something I'm missing with this. It seems interesting. It seems unique, But yeah. Next up, we got Palafin EX. We've talked about this one, super good. But yeah, again, I've talked about that one before. Okay, so we got Luxray EX. This card's kind of insane. And first of all, for 2 lightning, so you have 1 retreat, 310 HP for stage 2. So like the weaker, like quote faster side, as you might like to call it. But yeah, Volt Strike 250 for lightning, and you discard all energy from this Pokemon. See, as I said, you want to be hitting like well, you do want to be hitting like 280. That's pretty good. And you're not hitting 280. You can use tools to get up there, but that's like you'd rather not. There are ways to power this up. But then the first attack, your Piercing Glint 120, look at your opponent's hand for 2 colorless, and discard a card you find there. This is interesting. It's kind of like Luxray V. It's actually very similar to Luxray V. Its damage is much higher, but the point of that attack isn't really damage. So this card's kind of terrible, to be honest, compared to Luxray V. Luxray V, of course, is rotating as a Pokemon V. They will be rotating next year, but I mean, come on, like this card isn't very good, unfortunately. I mean, in a vacuum, it's like okay, um, but unfortunately, I just don't think it's really good enough at all. You have Arbok EX to discard more cards. We have Arbok EX, I think your opponent chooses, but or is it random? I think it's your opponent chooses. Yeah, but like it discards more. So if you get them down to like a 2 card hand, then Arbok EX is just better. Assume like it is more energy, but it's a stage 1. And then Luxray EX, obviously, as I said, Luxray V just kind of outclassed it. Unfortunately, it's a control card ish, kind of. I don't know. That's weird. You can like heal it and like heal loop, I guess, but that's pretty awkward because there isn't like Acerola is a card you'd be looking to have here, which we don't have. We have similar cards, but nothing quite like Acerola. So yeah, you just scoop up Cyclone, which is like similar, but it's not great. Or it's great, but it's only once per game, so it's not a great game plan, I should say. Maybe I'm underestimating. I mean, 250 for 2 lightning is pretty good, so maybe that is good enough. But we don't have great energy acceleration for lightning, and I think it's just a little lacking. I've got a Kilowattrel. This isn't very good. It's not a complete trash, but it has like a setup attack and then like a damaging attack. But you're probably gonna die before you use the damaging attack, so you can't really use the setup attack. And the regular damaging attack is not very good. So yeah, not too much to like about this card here. Unfortunately, not as much as the EX. Um, Let's see, I've talked about all these. Chimecho. Oh, whoa. Okay. I just had a weird accent there. I was really caught off guard by this card. I looked at this before and I was like really surprised, and now I'm really surprised again, which is not really how things are supposed to go, but I am. Homecoming Chime. What? Shuffle one of your bench Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. So this is a healing attack, and it like reuses stuff and preserves resources. This is really interesting. As a control, I don't play that much control. I play some control though, and this seems pretty interesting. As I said, preserving resources is really great sometimes. And this does that, right? This heals, preserves resources, could be really useful. And in a good chunk of scenarios, I don't know. I don't know when it would quite be like the idea is you get hit into. I say like with that Luxray EX, you get hit into, then you attack, and then you essentially heal it up, which is really great. Yeah, so I think this is a really interesting card again, like a pseudo control card. I can't really see it used in too much else outside of control. Maybe some like as I said, some other big stage 2 like tanky deck, but I'm not sure. Um, it's still a pretty interesting card, and one that I like the design of, kind of like Jinx as well. I think it's like a fun card, good for Cube. Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. Next we got Palo Sand. I don't know if this card's new, to be honest. It's not very good, but it's a card. Yep, that's for sure. Monkey Dory we talked about. Pheasantipede. Is that how what it is? Yeah, Pheasantipede. Anyway, so we got ourselves a Sand Slash. I mean, again, not particularly good, but yeah. I don't know. It's kind of I don't know why they do all these like just not very good. I mean, they're not complete trash, right? Like Sand Slash and whatever. Palisand. I guess if you have sand in your name, things aren't going to go so well. But they're not completely. I mean, they're for standard, they're completely unplayably bad. But like in just casual play, they're all right. They're pretty decent. Next we got Glamora. Oh, this is interesting. First attack, terrible. But the second attack here, Venoshock. We've seen this a lot, but 30, 100 more if your opponent's active is poisoned. There are a good chunk of ways to do this. Well, there's two, I think. There's the Among Us guy and then like the Wooper evolution, which I forget the name. Paladin Clodsire EX. There we go. So those two are both pretty good. Brute Bond is probably better, and you could do that. And then Poison. It's like interesting. There's also a bunch of different Glamours that are pretty decent. None of them are like insane, but they're pretty interesting. The damage output isn't like super great, but it's okay. I think you could play this. It's niche, but it is usable. Then we got ourselves Puccina Medina. Doesn't look particularly. Oh no, wait. This is actually really good. Pack outing 30 and 90 more feature bench Medina. That's pretty insane. I don't think there's a way to get Medina. Oh wait, no, never mind. I thought it was Puccina. Okay, this is okay. It can certainly be hitting 120 for one on a stage one, which is not complete trash. It's decent, but not really good enough. But then if you're hitting 210, that's good, right? 210 for one on a stage one is really nice. It's not like insanely broken, but it's pretty good. Obviously, it's a lot of setup, though. You need to really be getting your Medinas into play over and over again. That's pretty awkward, right? You need to be recovering them a lot and then playing them a lot. But I think it's okay. I do like this card. I love it with Miriam. Miriam's a card that, in my opinion, is super underrated. It recovers like a lot of Pokemon. It recovers 5 Pokemon and draws 3 cards, which is pretty insane. Um, so yeah, I think that's an option. I do like that. You could pair it with like Starmie or something. I think it's a pretty fun looking card. Not super good though. Next up, we got Scolipede. Okay, we got Unfair Game. Put damage cast on your opponent's active until its remaining HP is 10. That is terrible because we have lots of other ways of doing that. I think maybe down to 30, but realistically, doing 30 versus 10 is not that much harder. And this is kind of hard to pay. I mean, just compared to Serena EX, right? Serena EX is better, right? So yeah, or like Alolan Eradicate. Um, There we go. Yeah. So, oh yeah, this one is down to 10 on interactive for 3 colors on a stage one, but it's a stage one and realistically about as easy to pay. Except we got Brute Bonnet. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Skarmory. I don't remember if we talked about this. It does 90 for 3 colors. Discard a stadium. You could use this in certain scenarios. It's not particularly good, but there are times when it's like okay, but I don't think you'd ever really play this unless we see. I don't know. I mean, like it doesn't one-shot Chan Pound, but it's close. I'm not really sure. Not very good. Agron just talked about Heatran. This one's interesting if it's in the active and damage, it does burn. And then Steel Burst. 50 times multiply, you discard all metal energy from this Pokemon at 50 for each card discarded in this way. So no, and expanded no like counter energy shenanigans or anything like that, but that's fine. There isn't really a great there isn't really a I was gonna say there isn't anyway. There's Matang. That's interesting. This could actually be a decent Matang partner. And then the burn is pretty nice. It's just like a little bit of extra damage, which is always nice. UHP is like whatever, not particularly tanky, but Steel Burst is actually pretty decent, I think, as a partner for Matang. Not amazing because it's more resource intensive. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say it's more resource intensive than Dialga, but Dialga's an evolution, so it's probably the same amount. Yeah, I actually kind of like this card. Then we got so we talked about most. This might be. Oh yeah, we have Ambipom. When you play this to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may flip a card. Oh yeah, sorry, flip 2 coins. For each heads, choose a random card for your opponent's hand, and then they reveal it and shuffle it into the deck. So that's obviously just a control card, or it's like disruption card, not necessarily like full control. But although there's not much of a difference. But Ambipom, yeah, this doesn't seem super good, but it does seem annoying. Its attack's pretty bad. 100 for 3 colors, not complete trash, but you don't really want to use it. I do think Ambipom is not super good, but I think it's funny. Like, why they? This is just a control card. I don't know why they keep printing these, but they are. So that's fun for me, I guess. Yep. And ourselves last Pokemon here is going to be Swanna. This is interesting, I guess. It does 90 for 1 colorless to your opponent's active Veer. EX. Oh no, sorry, just 110, 90 more. This is all right. Obviously, it doesn't hit weakness, so that's pretty bad. I don't think it's really good enough. But it is like okay. I feel like if we had we don't have like a good Swanna, right? No, we have one Swanna. Yeah, I didn't like know this Swanna was a card. So yeah, this card, if we get a good Swanna, like a Swanna EX, I think this is actually pretty decent as like an option, but it's not good enough on its own. Except we got, we'll save Secret Box to the end. We got a few more cards to talk about in the meantime. We got Handy Fan. It's a tool whenever the active Pokemon takes damage, movement energy from an opponent's attack, movement energy from the attacking Pokemon, which is your opponent's Pokemon, to one of their benched. This is energy disruption. The idea is like control, right? But um, it's pretty niche. Like if they're able to switch, then you're just going to be moving energy back and forth and essentially not doing anything. Um, and honestly, in like an attacking deck, this is literally bad to play because it's going to help your opponent because it just preserves their energy. Certain scenarios, this could be nice. You could pair this with various other energy disruption cards. It's obviously not removing the energy from play, but it is not giving it. It is potentially. Oh, sorry for background noise as well. But it is potentially like hurting their position. In control again, another control card. It's pretty decent, honestly. Um, because it doesn't like return the energy to their hand, so it's good for like pure control. But it's pretty niche as well. Then we got ourselves. That's it for these. So we have one more card though. The card I promised, Secret Box. That's right. The card that is arguably better than Computer Search, very similar to Computer Search, like really, really similar to Computer Search. So we got Secret Box. You have to discard 3 cards to use this from your hand. Also, this looks like I don't know. This reminds me of something. I don't know what it reminds me of. It's either like Fortnite or Transformers, maybe a bit of both. But anyways, yeah, this is pretty good. Discording 3 is not good though, right? So, although I watched PCG Radio's video on this card, and he said it would be good in Lugia, right? It's probably better than Master Ball and Lugia, and yeah, I'd agree with that. In discarding is going to be nice because discarding Art Gaps is important. Of course, discarding 3. So when you look at cards, specifically items that discard cards from your hand, discarding nothing, honestly, like obviously that's fine, but there are times when you want to discard, so discarding one's probably ideal. That's probably the go-to. If you like the best case scenario, it's almost never bad to discard a card, like a singular card, unless you have a ton of discard ones. But it's nice, right? Earthen Vessel's good. Tectometer's good. Earthen Vessel's better. It's really great. And more, very versatile. But then discard 2, like Ultra Ball, you're definitely going to be most of the time discarding something that you want in the future. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And then, of course, you have discard 3, which is you're definitely going to be discarding stuff that you want, at least 1 card, maybe 2 cards, maybe even 3 cards, which is going to hurt. But what you get, we get an item, a tool, a supporter, and a stadium. So you get every like type of trainer. That's why, because they have tools now, they've been doing a lot of tool support since Scarlet and Violet's come out. So um, the tool you can get is Force Seal Stone, right? So Force Seal Stone can search anything, which means that this gets um, an item which gets almost anything, and then a tool which also gets almost anything, and then a supporter which also could get anything. But I mean, like support's probably what you want. And the stadium, which is like whatever. You're probably honestly you're good. You might just like discard the stadium or something. But this is pretty insane. It can get pretty much whatever, anything, right? Obviously, it doesn't get Pokemon directly, but if you want either a basic Pokemon or if you want, well, I mean, you can get Ultra Ball, right? Then you're discarding 2 more cards, which is honestly, it might just be the tool in the stadium, but I mean, that's like whatever. It's not great, but it's fine. So it's getting a Pokemon. You could say it gets any Pokemon and then any supporter. But really, like you compare this to Computer Search. Of course, discarding the extra card is usually bad outside of Expanded, where like you can just do crazy combos. This is gonna be kind of insane and Expanded. But I don't know if it's that much better than Computer Search. It's more powerful, like higher upside, higher downside, right? But yeah, getting any supporter, like so if you have a bad hand, assuming you have a hand of at least 4 cards, including this, because if you don't, then you just can't play this. But if you have a barrel, you can always play this. So that's something to keep in mind. But barrel, really great for this. Or like Curlias honestly are pretty good as well. Although again, you're just discarding so much stuff then. But so this isn't like a bailout late game card. This is a setup early game / mid game like burst option card. So yeah, like you can get the Force Seal Stone. You don't have to get Force Seal Stone. You won't always be able to get Force Seal Stone. Either it's prize, you don't have a V, or of course like you V start. So It won't be for like in Lugia, it's not for Seal Stone, but in Lugia, it's discard fodder or it's like I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of tools. They're pretty good. They're like a what bravery charm, um, escape. No, rescue board. Rescue board's so good. Rescue board's like I think really underrated. I maybe it's not underrated. Maybe I just underrated it, but that's super good. There's Defiance Band. There's a bunch of like pretty solid tools. And then stadiums, of course. There are a lot of stadiums. Unfortunately, one of the best stadiums is Town Store, which gets a tool, and you don't need that. But you could get Artisan. You can get there are lots of stadiums. They're pretty solid. Or as I said, you could just discard them with like Ultra Ball, and then your item can be Ultra Ball or a Nest Ball or Rare Candy, or I don't know. It could be a lot of different things. Then your supporter can literally be like whatever, right? And there are a lot of good supporters. Obviously, Research, Boss, Iono, Judge, Arvin. Again, Arvin like isn't super great, but you could probably play this in Arvin based decks. Obviously, Arvining for this is probably not good because like then you could use Arvin to search out this, to search out another Arvin, and then like more tool. Like it's not necessarily super great, but it's not bad either. You're getting extra items. You're like getting an item in the stadium. It's just like good at the very least, and it's insane in like certain scenarios. I think Secret Box is gonna be the best ace spec. I think Prime Catcher is like good, but obviously like you can just play Secret Box and get a boss, right? So in many scenarios, Secret Box will be just as good. Or you could get like if you need the switch, you can get Boss Switch. Um, and then what like other things or boss rescue board, right? So there are a lot of scenarios when this is really a beach court, right? So you can get a switch that way. There are just so many options. And it's gonna be really good for Charizard, to be honest. I mean, it's just like good consistency. Obviously, no maximum belt will hurt, but I don't know. Maybe maximum belt's better. I'm not a massive fan of it, but I know its value. But anyway, that's all for today's video. I think Secret Box is kind of insane. I don't know if I think it's better than computer search. Of course, it depends on the scenario. It doesn't get special energy and can cause awkward scenarios. But anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. As always, I'm going to see you. Sorry, I'm tired. But as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.